Mercedes X-Class coming in. 360 in the truck. Let's go. It's a very slow 360, but it looks dope. Welcome back to Forza Horizon 4. It is officially summer, which means we've got some brand new stuff to go and get. It's also Series 8, which means there's a brand new update for Forza Horizon 4. You might have seen on Tuesday, we used this thing, our Formula Drift Nissan 240SX, to go and do some drift adventure. It's the brand new game mode in Forza Horizon 4, and it's very, very cool. If you missed that video, I will link to it down below. Today, though, I wanted to come in, check out the festival playlist, and check out the brand new Mercedes. This week, we're able to unlock the Mercedes-Benz GT4, which is basically, long story short, Mercedes' answer to the Porsche Panamera Turbo. Anyways, to get that, we need to get 50% on our summer season, which means we need to go and do some of these fabulous things. We can also unlock the Mercedes-Benz X-Class, which for those of you who don't know, is a Mercedes pickup truck. So we'll try that out as well today. Before we do get into unlocking the car, though, I do want to check out the Forzathon shop before we forget, because we always do. Stuff we've seen previously, Sea of Thieves car horn, some boots. We got the R34 and an M5 Forza edition. That's a really cheap price. That's a really, I'm gonna buy one of them. Lol, JK, I'm gonna buy 2 of them. Actually, I'm just gonna buy a lot of them. Hey, if anybody needs a Nissan R34 GTR, I got you. Let's hope this doesn't take an hour. Go bang out the festival playlist, unlock the Mercedes X-Class, and the Mercedes-Benz GT4. Let's do it. So that is the Mercedes GT4 AMG thing, Porsche Panamera rival. There you go. We've unlocked the Mercedes X-Class as well as the GT4. Mercedes AMG. Are they both under Mercedes AMG? No, they're not. So the GT4 is considered an AMG, and this X-Class is just considered a normal old Mercedes. Both of these are actually very, very cool in their own regard. So the GT4, like I was saying, is sort of kind of a bigger version of the AMG GTR. It would be wrong not to get into this car and try to rip it around a racetrack. I think that's gotta happen. Now, I was saying this is sort of kinda like the AMG GTR, however, 2 glaring differences. 1, there's 2 doors, and 2, it's 4-wheel drive. 630 horsepower, 660 foot-pounds of torque, but it weighs 4,500 pounds, so it is kind of heavy. Please say GT4 door instead of GT4. GT4 door sounds really dumb. Just call it the GT Coupe. I mean, the GT4 Coupe. It's a silly name to call a car, okay? That's all you need to know. Anyways, so earlier in the stream, people were asking me, what is my favorite car? And I was saying that on paper, the AMG GT4 door would be up on my list. However, for some reason, it's not. I am a huge fan of 2 types of cars. 1, hot hatchbacks. I feel like they are the coolest, most practical, and best value cars that you can get, like, right now. Say, for example, you've got things like the Golf R, the Ford Focus RS. You've got other things like the Civic Type R. The other type of car that I love are estate cars, like the AMG E63 or the Audi RS6, for example. This is essentially an AMG GTR, which is a supercar, with 4 doors, making it more practical. It is technically a hatchback because of the way the rear door opens. However, for some reason, I don't like the looks of this car. I feel like it's ugly, it's bloated, and it just looks a little bit silly. I feel like a dedicated hot hatch or a dedicated estate car is much better looking than this. And I feel like they just tried to do too much with one car. I'm sure it's a really fast car, a really great car, really well put together, really fast. It sounds really good in the game too. The V8 sounds like it has actual trumpets coming out its butthole, which is always good. That sound, as soon as you get in the red line, is just insane. It just roars. It might just be me, but I've never really been a fan of the whole, let's chuck 4 doors on a car and sloop the roof line down. It's the same thing for the Porsche Panamera. Fabulous car, amazing. But I just wouldn't buy one. Audi RS6, Mercedes E63. I'd go for those any day of the week over one of these. Anyways, like I was saying, solid, awesome car, hella quick, actually very drivable. I mean, it feels a little bit heavy in the corners, but it's 4,500 pounds. Anyways, we do have some engine swaps. I'm not going to touch the engine. We got a 5.2 V10. That is from the Audi R8. I made that mistake last week. Sorry. And we've got a 6.5 V12 if you like ruining your cars. There you go. We are going to make this thing rear-wheel drive, which will technically make us much worse. Do we have any body kits for this? No, we don't. We can put some front aero or some rear aero on. In terms of tires, we are on... Okay, we're only on street tires, so they're not super, super grippy. So that's actually really good for the whole drifting thing. We got some fabulous tire spacers. Hella aggressive look. Okay, that's actually illegal, but it's all good. It's actually illegal to drive your cars like that here. Just an FYI. Everybody's saying I ruined the car already. I didn't do anything to ruin this car. I have a very specific agenda for what I want to do to this. Drift suspension. Thank God. I was just about to say, if we can't have drift suspension on this, my dreams are crushed. We can remove 1,000 pounds out of this thing, but it really doesn't change the stats that much. I mean, I don't think we really need to max upgrade this thing. I say need to upgrade this thing because I'm gonna full send it. All the upgrades. How much horsepower can this thing build? 920 horsepower. It's more than I was expecting. My whole plan with this thing was to build a drift car because we now have Drift Adventure, right? And I know people want their drift tunes. And I was thinking this thing could make a pretty good drift car. I do like the AMG paint job as well on this thing, like with the it's not really not camo. It's like the matte gray. Looks cool, but I feel like we could do a little bit better. Oh, I like the stripe too that we had on there. That looks cooler. It kind of looks like a pumpkin, but I kind of really like it. So a 900 horsepower GT4 door. All right, so let's go and drift this thing around. Now, I was recently shown a new drift area by my boy Ank. He showed me up here. I'm sure I've drifted up here before, but it was actually really cool. I legitimately do not know how this thing is gonna go, if it's gonna work at all. However, I'm already realizing not wanting to slide as much as I really want it to. Like, come on, AMG. This is what you're supposed to be good at. I don't know why for me, by the way. I completely forgot to explain. Mercedes and AMG, in my mind, they build awesome race cars, that's for sure. However, for some reason, it's ingrained in my head that they're just for hooning about. Yo, the drift cam in the GT4 door. Looks good, man. I don't know, though. This car just feels a little heavy. It feels too big and bloated. I don't know if it's because, like, recently we've had a bunch of, like, really, really lightweight cars that we can just throw around everywhere. But this thing is just heavy. At least it feels that way. I mean, it's 3,500 pounds, which is still pretty heavy. If you compare it to my other drift cars that I have, and it doesn't want to go. All right, let's take it to a drift zone real quick before it gets too dark. I don't know. It's just, it's definitely on the heavy side. That's for sure. Let's see what we can do, though, in terms of points. This is one of my favorite drift zones for cars like this. We can sort of just power it through, and the weight doesn't really matter. 78,000 points. I can do a little better. I can do a little better than that. And in. Okay. Hold it inside, inside, inside. There we go. We don't have that much speed, but we should be able to carry a little bit more. Come on. Keep pushing it. I want 100K. I want 100. Oh, 101,000. Okay. Okay. So the GT4 door, pretty good. Decent car, feels a little heavy. However, I promise I'm not crazy. I think the Mercedes X-Class will be a better drift car than that Mercedes is. We're not gonna waste any time driving this thing stock because nobody wants to see a Mercedes X-Class just drive about a circuit very, very slowly. Engine swap. So we've got our stock engine in here, 188 horsepower, that's gotta go. We got a 6.2 V8, that's already much better. We could go Formula Drift Life, V10, V12, or no goddamn way, the 7.2 liter racing V8. A carbon fiber rear wing? or sorry, rear lip. It's gonna give us more downforce, but I want that anyways. We've also got, oh, we can remove our side steps. Perfect, looks better that way. I think you can see where I'm going with this now. Let's go sport tires. We do need some grip in this thing. I was previously told that this Mercedes X-Class is pretty cool and has some interesting things because we can go and put race tires or race suspension on it or go full on drift with it. That is what I call a very, very slammed pickup truck. We probably don't want that much horsepower, if I'm honest. 1,000 horsepower is fine. Say hello to what I think will be the best drift truck in Forza Horizon 4. That's what I'm saying, boys. I haven't tested this, obviously. So I am a little bit worried for what's about to happen. I'm just praying that this thing is actually better than the GT4. So let's go give it a little warm up in the same area, and then we'll take it back to the drift zone and see if we can get more than, I think it was 101K. Certainly sounds like a drift car. Yep. And it doesn't feel as sluggish as the GT4 did. This one feels much more chuckable. Oh, boys. Okay, I like the X-Class. It sounds like a goddamn Formula Drift car. It's ridiculous. Okay, so give me a little bit to get adjusted to this thing and kiss that AMG score goodbye. I also must give it this. It's also got a tonneau cover on the rear. That's the thing that covers up the bed. Very cool. My Ford Raptor has one of those in real life. You can't actually do it on the Ford Raptor, but I like the fact that the X-Class comes stock with it. I really like this thing driving it around. It's very, very good. It's so happy to go sideways. I was so not expecting that out of a pickup truck. I honestly think I can already beat the score. I'm sure. One attempt, that's all I need. Mercedes X-Class, let's go. 130 miles an hour initiation into the zone. The rain is coming down. Let's go. New drift truck that's already 50K. Remember when I said I only needed one attempt? I didn't think I would only need part of the zone as well. 120,000 on our first attempt. My personal best is 129. Wait a second, hold on. My personal best on this zone is with a Dodge Viper, where I got 129,000. I go and pull 120,000 on my first attempt with a pickup truck. That's rear-wheel drive. I think this is the new best drift truck. Oh my god. So I think it's safe to say the Mercedes X-Class is a very, very solid drift car, and I'll totally share this tune if anybody wants to give it a go. I want to see some Mercedes X-Classes ripping it up in Drift Adventure. Mercedes X-Class coming in, 360 in the truck. Let's go. It's a very slow 360, but it looks dope. This thing is awesome. It's just so good. It's just so goddamn good. I love this thing. Anyways, boys, that's where I'm going to wrap this up for today. I'm going to go and share this tune right now for whoever wants it. If you want this tune, it's called AR12 Drift. Check out the Mercedes X-Class. Give it a go. See what you got. I want to see these in Drift Adventure because they are awesome. Stupid amounts of fun.